and both Holly and Marika brought up a very key point about us, which it starts out as a residential transition experience, but then it can be a lifelong community. And for 85% of our families, that is where we go with it. So we're both things. Next, I want to have our student ambassadors introduce themselves. Debbie, would you unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I am Debbie. I am actually Deborah, and I spell it the exact same way as another Deborah that's on the call. So shout out to the Deborah Club. I'm originally from Westchester, New York, but now I am a resident of Connecticut. I did the REACH program. I also came in the pandemic, and I also sort of had like a rocky road in the beginning, especially not being able to, I guess like I'm Jewish, so I couldn't celebrate Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur with my family like I usually do, and that was one of the toughest challenges I've ever had to face because I was not prepared for it, and I knew it was coming, but I thought I was gonna be able to go home, and it didn't work out. Anyways, but I graduated REITs in 2022. I am living right off campus, which is amazing, and I've been in my apartment for 2 years. And I have 3 part-time jobs, and one of them is that on Mondays and Wednesdays, I work at Chapel Haven as one of the admin assistants. So I do help Catherine and Christy and Cody and everyone else with other things as well.
Absolutely. You do help us a lot. Thank
Debbie.
you very much. Good job. Jason?
Hello, I'm Jason Avery. This is actually my second year here at Chapel Haven. So much like a few of the others, I had a bit of a rough start when coming here. So initially, I didn't want to, I didn't do well with big changes at the time. But after a few months and whatnot, I thought things through and I decided, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just come and try it out. I came for the week visit and it went really well. Everybody was super nice. We kind of hung out, chatted a little, got through all the assessments because assessments are always fun for everybody. And since then, I actually started a bit late in, what was it, October, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was October. So I started a bit late in October, and I've been here since. Every now and again, I go home to, hang out with my family. But so far, things have been going really well. I've actually started an internship with one of the programs here, and I'm going to college. I've also started college, and I'm probably going to start looking for a job on top of that, probably sometime in the near future as well.
Awesome. And Jason will be honored next Sunday with the Alexandra Dilger Award. So we're very, very proud of all of that. Proud of all of our students. Can I have the staff introduce themselves? We'll start with Christy.
Hi, I'm Christy Chandler. I'm Director of Admissions at Chapel Haven. I see some familiar names on the screen, so I'm so glad you're here today. Did I already say I've been here almost 12 years? Or I have been here 12 years. Started out as a special ed teacher in REACH and then moved over to admissions after that. And so I look forward to following up with each of you after today and hopefully taking those next steps.
Awesome. Cody?
Hi, my name's Cody. I am an admissions associate here at Chapel Haven. That means I work really closely with Christy and Catherine throughout the admissions process. I get to know the applicants. And I've been here since June, actually. And so far, I'm absolutely loving it. So yeah, nice to meet you all.
Awesome. Abby?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. So my name's Abby Hafey. I'm a career development advisor here at Chapel Haven within our CareerAbility department. So we're sort of the job folks here on campus. And before that, I served as our job developer. So I can also speak a little bit to the customized employment piece. And this is my first information session, so bear with me, and thanks for including me.
And thank you so much for coming. And we are going to talk more about CareerAbility, but that is our employment and job internship, job shadowing arm. And since we founded that program, we have found really good, satisfying jobs for over 100 of our adults. So we're very, very proud of that. And then last but not least, Shania.
Morning, everyone. I am Shania Jones. I'm the supervisor of our ASAC community members. So after our individuals complete their 2 years in the ASAP program, they do move over into my department, and then I help them out in the community.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so off we go back to our overview. And if you have questions at this point, you can put them in the chat, and Cody's going to keep an eye on that. But you can also, when we get into our breakout sessions, we encourage you to ask questions, especially with our ambassadors, because they really tell the story. So a little bit about Chapel Haven Schleifer Center. We were founded in 1972 on Chapel Street in this multifamily house that you see here on the screen. We have direct routes to Maplebrook School, 2 families from Maplebrook School. Their young adults had a great boarding school education, but they wanted them to learn a little bit more concrete life skills. And then they figured they'd start a program, their adults would get some life skills, but they'd probably come back home. And this was in 1972, when there were really no expectations that people with disabilities could, leave home and have their own life. And so they started the program in this house here on Chapel Street. And we started with 6 students and 2 staff. And then as our founding 6 students got the hang of things and figured out that they could get a job and manage their money and do some cooking and make friends and all of those good things, we quickly developed into to the full lifelong program that we are today. And the 2 founding families, the young lady on in the lower photo here with the purple sweater, Lori Crass, she's still in our program all these years later. So just, the model really works. And we moved to Whaley Avenue, which is our current campus, in 1976. And so we just celebrated 52 years in our current site. 52 years of doing what we do. So we're really proud of that. We will be following up with you. We'll be sending you the recording from today's presentation. And also, it's hard to really show you how we use our neighborhood. We are in a wonderful, accepting neighborhood, but we do have a great video, which we will be sending you a link to, and I encourage you to take a look at that. We are in Westville Village. We have a branch of the public library literally a block away. We have great connections with Becky Synagogue, literally right up the street. There's a center of Westville called Westville Village, where our students work and do their banking and grab a bagel and have easy access. It's literally just 2 blocks away. So there's a lot of great connections. We're also about a mile away from the Jewish Community Center of Greater New Haven, where Debbie works part-time, and our students do some vocational and employment at the JCC, and they also work out and swim in the pool and go to basketball court and all kinds of things. So it's a wonderful neighborhood to be learning how to live independently. And there's Mr. Cheney right there. As Marika mentioned, he is about to get his own apartment and live out in our community. One of the things that happened with Chapel Haven is, in the beginning, we were serving a lot of adults with developmental disabilities, but we were getting lots of phone calls with families who had just been finding out that their adults had Asperger's syndrome, as it was known back in the day, and social communication disorders. And we didn't really have the right program for them. And I give Chapel Haven a lot of credit back in the day, that we didn't just take these students in and think that we could serve them. We were lucky enough to have a partnership with the Yale Child Study Center, and which is also right up the street. And they helped us to create the Asperger Syndrome Adult Transition, or ASAP program, that we have today. So that's when in 2006, we opened that program as well. Just a little look at our campus. And one of the things that happened is because we've been in this field for 52 years, our campus had come to be what Christy and I decided to call lovingly used, which is an acronym for it was getting a little tired. And so our president really wanted to upgrade the campus and also to make sure that we really would be a program that could serve adults for a lifetime. So he was able to fundraise and put together $45 million in capital campaign funds to fully upgrade the campus, and also to create the SAIL program where adults can age in place if they choose to do that. And so we were really lucky for that. The only bad part about it is we completed the campaign just before COVID. So there was a period of time where our students were still learning and we were still teaching and doing everything we do, but kind of in a bubble. So like when Debbie talks about not being able to go home for the holidays and whatnot, a lot of our adults came to campus and kind of stayed in place throughout the COVID, just to be safe. But now we're out of that, thank God, and we're very proud of our campus. And so we serve, from our founding of 6 students, we now serve 250 adults. Just to give you an idea, the range in age goes from 18 all the way up to 72. We draw people from all over the US and sometimes other countries, but a lot of adults come to us from New England and from the tri-state area, and lots of potential friends in our community. And we are nationally accredited by CARF. So as you are looking at programs, we would highly recommend that you ask about the program's accreditations. And we are 98% compliant with CARF, which is the Commission for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. And they come in every 3 years and do an exhaustive 3-day visit. They talk to our stakeholders, our staff, they look at our health and safety, they look at our curriculum. They have all international benchmarks of excellence, and it's a pretty rigorous experience. And we have, over the years, done very, very well with that. And so, of course, you know, what you want to know with the program is they're critical eyes looking at the program from outside. And CARF is our accrediting agency that does that. We're also approved as a private special education school for adults that are still on their IEPs, adults between 18 and roughly 22. And so some families and some school districts do support placement at Chapel Haven, which is a wonderful thing. And then we are an approved vendor through the State Department of Developmental Services. And as I mentioned, we do have a whole range of adults at Chapel Haven. Our oldest is Rich, who recently celebrated his 72nd birthday at Chapel Haven. So truly a lifelong community. And Shania will remember this photo. This is when we went to Israel. So we brought about 30 adults and staff and parents. This is just before everything broke out in Israel. And this was on the Sea of Galilee. And so it was a really cool trip. We have 4 core values that our staff operate by, and you can see those on the screen, and they are real day-to-day values. We have a really nice recognition program for staff who embody these values, and we really strive to practice them every day. So along the way with Chapel Haven, because we've been in the field for 52 years now, we've had a lot of expert feedback and help from people in the field. And you can see a few of those here on our screen. Dr. Fred Volkmar from the Yale Child Study Center is on our board. Dr. Barbara Cook with the Communication Disorders Program at Southern Connecticut State University just joined our board. She helped to found the ASAP program, as did Dr. Volkmar. Michelle Garcia Winner with her social thinking curriculum has had a influential role in our curriculum, Dr. Ami Klin, Dr. Lori Sperry. So we've had a lot of tremendous expertise, and we use that day to day in our program. This is a look at some of the staff that you would get to know when you come to Chapel Haven. Just looking at this org chart here, Michael Storrs is our president. Collectively, there's probably 10 to 15 years of experience here at Chapel Haven. So at the senior level, everyone has been on the team for at least 10 years. Sunny Richards is one of our longest serving staff. She started at Chapel Haven when she was a teenager, and now she's our VP of Community Programs. So a lot of expertise here. Very proud of that. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to Christy, and she's going to talk about our core programs and what they have in common.
So those of you who are on the meeting today that have had a previous call, you know that when you first call in, we're typically asking you some questions to help us determine which one of these programs might be the better starting point. And so sometimes, broad, easy way to do that is by diagnoses, and you can see some of those listed for the REACH program here. Typically, these young adults have mild developmental and intellectual disabilities, but not always. Sometimes the IQ ranges are anywhere from 50s to 80s. Academic levels can be anywhere from elementary to middle school. Very capable young adults who probably aren't going to be traditionally college bound, but might go on to do some certificate programming and really benefit from a concrete approach to learning the ins and outs of day-to-day adulting skills. Our ASAP program, Catherine, if you want to pop to the next one there, serves adults who, as Catherine was saying, back in the day, it was started for adults with the Asperger diagnosis. And we know that is no longer recognized in the DSM-5, though we have retained that name because it does resonate with many of the adults that we work with. Some of the additional disabilities or diagnoses that might be served, you can see here. I will say, though these adults do not typically have a cognitive impairment or a language impairment as part of their profile, we often see a lot of needs around still learning how to manage the day-to-day demands of adult life, especially if they're trying to balance college and work and figuring out that social world, and how to navigate all those implicit things that we're just supposed to learn by watching other people. One thing I do want to clarify, though, is that, in the disability world, we have terms that evolve over time, right? And so one of the ones that had become common are these high functioning and low functioning terms. And we're really trying to learn from particularly the autistic community that those descriptors are not super helpful these days, and kind of very narrowly focus in on people's abilities, when really everybody has a very unique, complex profile. And so oftentimes what we'll do instead is we'll say, talk to us about their daily living skills, talk to us about their social communication skills. Somebody may have very low support needs with their independent living skills, but more high support needs with social communication skills. So the admissions process will help us to get a better understanding of that. Sometimes there's adults who fall right in between those two programs, but we'll eventually get that sorted out with input from the adult as to which one might be the better match. So what all the programs have in common: life skills. Everybody lives in an apartment on campus to start. Everybody is budgeting and menu planning and grocery shopping, learning to keep their apartment clean, learning how to navigate working with a roommate. They're also working on, I think, social communication skills, the next part. So both programs have a full-time speech language pathologist who work with the adults on learning the pragmatics that are needed in the workplace, to build friendships, to repair communication breakdowns, even to manage, life at the grocery store whenever somebody's cart is blocking your way and you need to get around. Those are all the very practical pieces that we're working with, not just in the classroom setting, but very much in all the settings. Kind of the in-between times and when we're out in the community are really those most effective teaching moments. All the programs also have in common community safety. So we live in a great neighborhood. As Catherine said, we've been there for over 50 years at this point. And one of the things that we love about it is the community can be our classroom. So working with our adult to learn how to safely navigate situations, how to utilize public transportation. You can see some of the pieces that we've added to our campus to help ensure the safety of the adults that are there. We also have a great director of security and IT who came on within the last couple of years that's helped us to make some good additions to campus for that purpose as well. Leisure time, both programs have a nice social rec component to it. When we get into the breakout sessions, we'll talk a little more specifically about what those look like, but there's always fun stuff to do on the weekends, and we're helping the adults learn how to plan and budget and engage in those in positive ways. And work. And Abby's going to talk in just a little bit. We have another slide specific to CareerAbility, but typically students are starting out with internships or volunteer assignments that are embedded within the REACH or ASAC curriculum. And that's to help them work on the soft skills in the beginning. So things you have to do no matter what your job is to be successful. Take a break and come back on time. Communicate with your coworkers. Ask for help whenever you don't understand. And then as those skills really come into focus, then we start working with the CareerAbility team to take it to the next step and the next step and the next step until typically after graduation, we're really honing in on that competitive employment piece at that time. The other piece that our programs have in common is they both use a curriculum-based assessment to guide students in their programming and in their really graduate trajectory as well. So we actually start our assessment process in the final stages of the admissions process. Dason made a comment earlier about a week visit assessment, and we'll talk a little more about that in the sessions, but that gives us a great opportunity to assess the student on their independent living skills, their social communication skills, their ability to navigate the community. And then once a student's admitted to the program, at the first 45-day mark, we pull all the team members, including the adult, the family, the staff at Chapel Haven together to review the progress across all those different domains, set some goals and objectives. And then every 6 months that they're in the program after that, these goals and objectives are updated and reviewed. And there's a curriculum-based assessment that has a rating tool that allows us to rate the adult across several different domains, which is a guiding tool for how much support they're likely to need as a graduate living out in the community, as well as the areas that they're probably going to need some ongoing support with. So this is a super helpful piece at Chapel Haven, and I would say something that distinguishes us from some of the other transition programs out there. So one place where the two programs differ a bit is that the ASAP program does have college support embedded in their curriculum. Again, though, this is a very individualized basis. So we've had adults come to us already having completed their college degrees and really looking for assistance transitioning into the world of work. We've had adults who have had some mixed experience at college. Maybe it wasn't quite as successful as they wanted it to be, and maybe they're looking for some help being able to balance those demands with other life demands. Or maybe they're just starting out and not even sure if they want to go to college. And so we have opportunities there to support them at each stage of that process. When we get into the ASAP breakout session, I'll talk a little bit more specifically about a class we have with Southern Connecticut State University and Dr. Barbara Cook's social communication class as well. So you've heard us speak a couple of different times about graduate or community or living off campus. So we call community members, that's what we call our graduates. So once you've lived on campus typically for about 2 years in either the REACH program or the ASAP program, you can then choose to stay on and be a part of the community for the long term. On average, our grads are getting about 2.5 hours a week of support. They're staying connected to the social activities, to vocational supports if needed. So really our campus is that hub that they can return to whenever they need. And actually, I see Zach out, Holly's son, in the rocking chair outside my office frequently, which is great. So, all right, Catherine, I'm going to switch it back to you to talk a little more about those community programs.
How did I do with your click rate?
You were good.
Yeah, so as Christy mentioned, once you've graduated residential and you've moved out into the community and you become a community member, and we have about 120 adults living all around our campus. then we offer supports to help you stay independent. And we're going to talk a little bit about what those supports look like. So our staff, our support coordinators, can help you continue managing your finances, pay your bills, schedule appointments, maybe even go to some doctor visits with a community member. Check out your apartment, make sure there's no science projects in the fridge, do some problem solving, roommate issues if there are any. And we continue to have those semi-annual review meetings, which is kind of cool, sort of like adult IEP meetings. I think we all need them. And adults can still be part of all this a la carte programming. So like Debbie and Cheney and Zach, they all still do the weekend rec trips. They still take classes at Chapel Haven. Abby and CareerAbility are still helping everybody with employment. We even have a full-time benefits coordinator who can help our families stay current on their benefits. As I mentioned earlier, we have a SAIL program now, Schleifer Adult Independent Living, which is an ongoing lifelong program for adults who aren't really ready to go out into the community or may have been living out in the community and now their needs are changing and they need to come back to campus with some eyes on them. And that's our SAIL program, which is really innovative program. And we have a day program called Community Life, and that can either be used to fill in gaps in an adult schedule, or some of our families choose to make that a full-time day program for their adults. And that is eligible for DDS funding, so that's a nice thing. I'm going to ask ask Abby to talk just a little bit about CareerAbility.
Sure. So, like I mentioned earlier, CareerAbility is the vocation piece here at Chapel Haven, and so typically during an individual's second year, either in REACH or ASAT, is when we might recommend that they apply for our work-based learning program, which offers real-world internships at a few different sites with whom we partner. So we're very proud to have a long-lasting partnership at Yale New Haven Hospital, where students can intern literally in kind of the buzzing world of the hospital, whether it be in the specimens lab or the gift shop, and in other places where there's an atrium cafe, and they complete various tasks. We also have a partnership at the JCC that Catherine mentioned that's just down the street. Again, interns can work in different departments. That's where Dayson is actually just beginning in our program, and he's serving as an intern in the marketing department there, and may do some writing to help promote events at the JCC. He may even have his own blog at the JCC, so it's very exciting. And then we also have, there's a coffee shop at the JCC called Cafe J, where individuals may serve as baristas and learn some other tasks kind of therein related, you know, how to take someone's credit card as a form of payment, how to stock things appropriately, how to just engage with patrons at the cafe. And then they work throughout these various locations. And then there's also a professional development class component. So that's where they get to come back with their peers and talk a little bit about what they experienced in their internship, and learn a little bit more about some of those unwritten social rules of the workplace. How do you go about requesting time off from work? Maybe there's pizza in the break room. How do we approach that? You know, so break room etiquette, things of that nature. And then we have other offerings within CareerAbility as well. it's really not a one size fits all, kind of approach. Everybody's trajectory may look different, but if we have someone who is interested in becoming a job seeker, they might first begin with a group volunteer opportunity, so that they learn a little bit more about volunteering in a supportive environment among their peers. They would be supported on site by a job coach who remains with them. And they kind of learn together. But we also have individuals, again, like Dason, who might explore a internship that they have independently, that they do solo. So Dason has just begun working with a partnership we're really excited about at Southern Connecticut State University. He serves on the on-campus library right there, the big university library, and helps them with their catalog needs. We also have a ton of partnerships that we're excited about. Someone who's pictured here is a member of Ken's Crew, which is an employment opportunity through Home Depot, and has other partnerships. We've had a lot of success with that. And something else that we do is customized employment. So we have a job developer. It's our business and community relations specialist, who is always going out into the community, hitting the pavement, building bridges, making connections, and trying to find specific opportunities for individuals based on what they're interested in, based on what lights them up, what are they good at. And it's kind of a marriage of the two. And we really pride ourselves in the success we've had going that route. Now that can take a little bit longer, but we are very proud of some of the placements that we've made, and we have partnerships all over Greater New Haven. Not just in the Westville area, but far beyond as well. Sorry, I feel like I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but
no, that's okay. No, it's
that's CareerAbility in a nutshell.
Thank you, Abby. And it is a real bright spot for us. And I think if you talk to any disability agency, it's a struggle to find work for adults with disabilities. But since we've started CareerAbility, which has such a comprehensive approach, as Abby has outlined here, we've had much, much more success. So we're very, very proud of that. If you want to come on campus, we'd love to have you. We have at a glance tours the first Thursday of every month at lunchtime. So that, we do limit that to, I don't know, I think 10 to 12 people or something like that. So we do need you to register for that, but it's been a popular way to come in a small group and really see what's going on. We're also doing an open house on the ground on November 2nd. So we'll send you more follow-up about that. And the last slide in the overview just talks a little bit about the admissions process. We use an online application, and our applicants do come and spend a sample day and a 4-day overnight visit as well. So it's a really good process, and it helps our adults really see what we're all about.
Catherine, can I just say a note about the admissions process as well? So Dason mentioned that he wasn't sure, in the beginning if he wanted to come or not. And so you'll see listed out here, it's a really comprehensive process, and it's purposefully designed that way because we want to have the opportunity to slowly get to know each other, and we want to have the opportunity to hopefully reduce anxiety for the prospective student as we go throughout that process, because we know changes can be hard and it can be really overwhelming to try to take in, all this new place and people and information at one time. And so I remember specifically, Dason, with you, that we hit pause on that process for a little bit so that you could have some marinating time to kind of figure out if this was what you wanted to do. And Fortunately, you know, that came back to being, all right, I'm ready to take that last step of the week visit assessment. And I think that week visit assessment really does seal the deal for many of the adults, because they have the opportunity to start developing some beginning stages of friendship, get to know the staff a little bit better, and really have the ability to kind of picture themselves in Chapel Haven setting, which is great. So we can talk a little bit more about that in the breakout sessions too. All right, Cody's going to take us on a tour of our shared spaces before we hop into our breakout sessions.
Yeah, so obviously we're virtual today, and we can't show off our campus in person, but I'll show you some of our shared community spaces that are shared by all programs. So when you first get to campus, one of the first places you'll see is our Welcome Center. The main floor of this building houses some of our administrative offices, as well as our reception area. If you go upstairs in this building, you will find the Sunshine Diner. This is one of 2 cafe spaces that we have on campus. We do have a strong focus on health and wellness here. Our wellness department works directly with the cafe to make sure that meal options are healthy and nutritious. And we do have sit-down options and to-go options as well. This cafe is run by our community members. So like we mentioned before, our community members are Chapel Haven grads who now live in apartments in the surrounding community. A lot of community members tend to hang out in this area. You won't see many of the residential students here for like lunchtime, because they do have, like we mentioned, those life skills where they're creating their own food. But this is a popular place to hang out, grab a snack, and just a general community space. Right next to that room is a room that we call Outreach. This is kind of a more multi-purpose area. It's used a lot for events, different clubs, like Best Buddies will meet up here, different recreation events as well. A lot of classes are held up here. You can see we had a Zumba class, we had a yoga class up here. A lot of art classes are in this space as well, and we even had a CPR class at one point. And then our theater and our choir program tend to use this space a lot as well. They do put on a wonderful show multiple times a year. Definitely don't want to miss that if you're on campus for it. But yeah, this space is really just kind of a whatever we need it for. It's a really great space. So if you were to go all the way downstairs in our Welcome Center, you'd find one of a few gym spaces that we have on campus. These can either be used for classes, like specific fitness classes, or one-on-one time with a personal trainer that we have on staff. These are 2 of the other gym spaces that we have that are in our sale building. This guy in the blue shirt is Ryan. He's our director of wellness. He plans all of our wellness course catalogs. He will create health initiatives that are spread across campus. He also creates some fitness clubs, like we have a running club, and just a lot of other things to help promote health and wellness across the campus. So like we mentioned, we do have a partnership with the JCC. Every residential student will get a membership to the JCC. Lots of different activities happen here. You can see there's swimming, they have a rock wall, which is really popular. And sometimes recreation events will happen here. We'll get a lot of people to go over for a basketball event or something like that. And we do have Debbie on the call as well, and Debbie works here part-time, which is pretty awesome. One of the last community spaces that we have in this building is our art room. Tina is our art director. She is not on the call right now, but she is amazing. She's been here for over 25 years. She's always finding new ways to get our students and our community members involved in art projects and theater projects as well. We do have a lot of different art classes that she'll run. Ceramics, like you saw on the wall on the last page. Also like painting, drawing, photography is another really popular one. And then Tina also leads a program with the Yale Center for British Art. Students are able to work really closely with the docents here to be able to learn about the art and the artists. You can see in this photo, we actually had a project with the museum where our adults had an installation where they chose the specific pieces that were put out on display. So yeah, that was kind of a little tour of our Welcome Center and some other places. we're going to break out into our breakout rooms and you'll see a little bit more about each